Hi, I'm Jay at Art, but you can call me Jay. Today we're gonna be looking at some pre-evolutions and evolutions of single-stage Pokemon. Let's get into it. The first pre-evolution I wanted to make was for a Pokemon not very forgotten at all, but I feel like I wanted to see a pre-evolution and evolution to this Pokemon. The Pokemon is Phalanx. For some background, Phalanx is a single Pokemon that consists of 6 individuals. Its name is a combination of phalanx, an ancient Greek tactic during wartime, and link because it's a chain of these individuals making up Phalanx. Without further ado, let's get into the pre-evolution of Phalanx. Okay, so for some background, I had designed these before, but I wanted to update the art style of them because I learned how to shade before, so that's why you saw the other one under it that I was tracing. Trust me, this is my own Pokemon. So for Stratot, that's the name of this Pokemon, strategy and taught, I wanted to look more into the defense side of the Phalanx strategy. So that's what I did. I made the top one commanding the other two on the bottom, and the bottom ones actually look like what the Phalanx strategy is. They cover their bodies with the shields, and yeah. So that's all I really have to say, but I do think that my shading in this video looks way more realistic than the other videos, which I'm very happy about. Okay, so surprise, we're actually making both attacking and defensive forms for Stratot. So I wanted to make the arms look like the spears so that they put between the shields while in the Phalanx strategy. So that's pretty much all that's different between defense and attack form, so I don't really have anything else to say. Without further ado, Stratot, the strategy Pokemon, a fighting type. Stratot are comprised of 3 smaller Pokemon. They live in ruins which remind them of their ancient roots. In ancient times, royalty would train these Pokemon from childhood, learning from each other until adulthood, where this Pokemon becomes much bigger. Stratot defense focus on tiring their opponents out rather than dealing lots of damage to them. The shields they use to protect them are as strong as steel. There is one main Stratot that leads the charge and commands when to put up their shields. A trainer would know which one is the commander by seeing which Stratot goes on top while calling out orders. Stratot attack aim to finish off opponents in a fast swipe. The blades on the end of their arms can cut through the strongest of metals in a quick slash. Unlike their other forms, Stratot attack do not have a defined leader and only rely on the healthiest individual at the time. Although there is no leader, all 3 are loyal to each other and will help each other when in tough situations. While not often, Stratot defense and Stratot attack will team up to defeat a strong opponent. Although 2 groups of Stratot will never team up more than once. Once they find a group of the other form that they can easily battle with, they will stick together until they evolve into Phalanx. Stratot evolves when a trainer has both forms in their party and one of the groups gets to level 25. Its abilities are Battle Armor and Defiant. Okay, so heads up on the evolution for Phalanx. I was watching a video a few days ago and I saw that somebody had the same design as me for this, and I just didn't want it to look like I copied, so just in case I'm giving credit, Fakemon Forever 2, he's a good YouTube channel and makes great art. Here is his evolution. It looks kind of close to mine. Sorry. Anyways, with that out of the way, let's look at my evolution to Phalanx. Okay, so like I said with Stratot, I just traced over my old design for it just to update the shading and all. So I wanted to base it off of a castle, and a bunch of Phalanx come together and take over this castle wall and use it as a body pretty much. So I gave it the rock type because it's a worn down wall and it's very ancient. Petroop, the castle wall Pokemon, a fighting and rock type. In ancient times, humans had not known what Petroop was. They had thought of them as being haunted castles, but it turns out that they had been a huge group of Phalanx who had formed to become this giant of a Pokemon, thus its nickname being the Walking Castle Walls. Petroop are controlled by many, many Phalanx that have mastered moving, battling, and thinking in unison. The giant shields on their sides make sure they can deal out damage and can protect themselves from damage. Petroop are loyal to any and all trainers who have shown it respect. If a trainer has cared for it a lot, they will be trusting and let the trainer ride atop of it. The ruins in which they live remind them of the ancient cities they protected. They now have the mission to protect all Pokemon living in and around those ruins. Rarely, you can find a huge civilization of Stratot, Phalanx, and Petroop living in peace. This Pokemon evolves from Phalanx under certain conditions. A Phalanx must be holding a protector and defeat 3 other Phalanx that are in a group with Stratot. Its abilities are Battle Armor and Stamina. How did you like Phalanx's line? Tell me in the comments, but now we're moving on to another line. This is another newer Pokemon, actually very new, Squawkabilly. So let's get straight into it. Originally, when making this Pokemon, I didn't want the plumage to be fully developed yet. So I made tufts of feathers on its chest to mimic the fabric in a musician's suit. So if you can see that, that's what I tried. Chichord, the chick Pokemon, a normal and flying type. When Chichord are born, they yell out ear-piercing screeches. According to the pitch they yell at, the highest pitched screech is the strongest Chichord. The puff of feathers on its head cover its eyes, so its only form of sense is touch and smell. The structure of their beak ensures that they can eat small bug Pokemon with no problem, as well as communicate with chirps. Chichord's body is not fully covered in feathers. In fact, the only part of its body that has feathers is the strip of them on their torso. This strip looks seemingly familiar to a collar of a musician and may have been the inspiration for it. Squawkabilly teaches Chichord very valuable lessons, like how to fly and what to eat. The older they get, the less feathers they have covering their face. When born, these Pokemon look like a giant ball of feathers with 2 legs. Each color form will wander around and will depend on any color Squawkabilly if lost. Chichord evolves into Squawkabilly when it reaches level 18. Its abilities are Runaway and Hustle. Now it's time for Squawkabilly's evolution. I wanted to make Hypnobilly look like one of those stereotypical movie musicians that are kind of crazy. And the whole idea behind this is that it can hypnotize other Pokemon, but it actually also hypnotizes itself in the process. So that's why it has that swirly eye. Hypnobilly, the Hypnosis Pokemon, a Psychic and Flying type. Hypnobilly are very clueless Pokemon. Their music coming from the flute-like protrusion on their beak hypnotizes any living thing in a 10-yard radius. The only problem is that it's not resistant to that song, which results in it hypnotizing itself. Rather than this being a weak spot when using it to perform, musicians use it as a strength and help liven the crowd up with the Hypnobilly hypnotizing itself. In the wild, these Pokemon are very dangerous. If you get too close to them, even though they hypnotize themselves, if you hear their song, you will be doing whatever the Hypnobilly's doing. This Pokemon was very popular during the late 1950s with a certain popular rock and roll individual. Thus, the nickname most given to this Pokemon is Hypno Presley. The feathers on their chest and back can shoot out in battle, extremely wounding the opponent and giving the Hypnobilly time to attack. They evolve from Squawkabilly when they learn Psychic Noise. Its abilities are Smooth Jazz, which doubles the power of sound-based moves. It also takes half damage from Pokemon with the ability Punk Rock. Its other abilities are Hustle and Guts. How did you like those Pokemon? Now we have 2 more Pokemon to draw, and its evolutionary line will be Spinda. Possibly my favorite drawing of the video, Pandizzy is the baby form of Spinda. Yes, I said baby form and not pre-evolution because this is a baby Pokemon. And yeah, there's not really a lot about this Pokemon, but yeah, that's about it. Pandizzy, the spot Pokemon, a normal type. Pandizzy are very tiny. They are born out of an egg and can't even stand, resorting to crawling, still with struggles. Their eyes are not yet fully developed when born, so they are always dizzy. Pandizzy need a lot of attention when they are born and will need a Spinda or a Dizzybox to be near them at all times. This is so they can learn how to control their dizziness and use it for maneuvering around opponents. This Pokemon is a mascot for a huge company in southern regions. Pandizzy even have an amusement park named after them, Pandizzy World. Many tourists visit the region in the summertime and bring their own Pandizzys with them so they can meet the famous Pandizzy, Daisy. Pandizzy evolves into Spinda at level 17 after spinning in a circle for 5 seconds. Its abilities are Own Tempo and Contrary. Let's evolve Spinda now. It's based on the idea of drunken boxing, which is a tactic used by boxers where they move in unexpected ways so they can hit their opponents easier. Dizzybox, the spot Pokemon, a normal and fighting type. Dizzybox are mostly tame Pokemon. When they are out in the wild, though, they are very dangerous. They will charge at anything they see and swing their fists at it. The power of their fists can crush metal in a matter of one swing. Dizzybox are friendly when trained up after a while. They are mostly known to help out construction crews by tearing down buildings with their unbeatable fists. They can sometimes think they are tiny and try to sit on their trainer's laps. This ends up with the trainer gasping for air under Dizzybox's big body. Dizzybox tournaments are held all around the world, with the best of the best Dizzybox going to a region in the West to fight in the Grand Championships. The winner of the tournament is thought of as the strongest Dizzybox in the world. Dizzybox evolves into Spinda after using Dizzy Punch 10 times in battle. Its abilities are Iron Fist and Contrary. So how did you think of today's video? Thank you, and I just have to say this video has been in production for 4 months because I drew all these Pokemon before my holiday video came out. So yeah, and I hope you liked all these Pokemon. Bye!